Alright, so I want to demonstrate something about. So, like, if we look at the Jack High flop in the 3-bet pot, this is Straddle versus Button. But we'll go ahead and look at Small Blind versus Button first, which I think is even going to demonstrate the concept even more. So we get the button raised, Small Blind raised to 28. Now, Big Blind in the Straddle fold, and we get the button call. Now we'll go to a flop for we'll do Jack 7. Let's do Jack 7 deuce. Okay. Now go to reports. First let's go to strategy. Alright, let this populate. So now you'll see this is like a range bet for the small blind. There's hardly any checking at all. And the most common bet size is 50%. So we'll go ahead and skip this part. We'll just do 50%, right? Um, Now the button has a lot of jams. There's no really check raising. Like the button will just decide to jam his hand, right? And he'll jam some top pair like weak kicker. And he'll jam some flush draws. Um, yeah, as the bluffs. Also jamming some second pair, which is you probably never see this in game. I'm glad I saw this because this is pretty juicy right here, right? Like to just be able to jam this and profit, it'd still be a profitable play against the small blinds range. Uh, and This is assuming that the small blind actually bets all of his hands for 50%, right? If he wasn't doing this, then it might be who knows, his range might be a little bit stronger there and it might not profit so much. But you can absolutely jam some of these better flush draws. Seems like it likes to pick the ones that also have like the potential to have a backdoor straight. So that's going on, and then it would rather call with the ace of spades. But anyway, that's not what we're really focusing on. So I'm gonna go here, and the button just calls, and now we're gonna go to the aggregate report of turns, and you'll see here this brown color is all in, right? So you'll see on like all of these turns right here, there's some just jamming your hand on the turn, right? And it's most common in these uh, high cards, 10, queen, king, but mostly the 10 is your biggest one. So I'm gonna show the 10 here. And I also want to look and see about like flush completing turns, because you would think that like you would have to slow down here, but on certain ones you actually don't. Excuse me, having some issues here. So we go to reports, suits. Now hearts is going to be the ones that jam the most, and that's when you bring in the double flush draw. Spades and spades is actually jamming a little bit more than diamonds and clubs. Clubs and diamonds jam the least. So I want to take that for the 10 of hearts is going to be our most aggressive hand that we're going to be betting. And let's say, I don't even necessarily think that it means that the EV is more. So let's look at the 10 of hearts. Okay, actually no, ten of diamonds. It's jamming just a little bit less, and then the ten of spades is jamming less than anything, than these tens right here, but it's still jamming quite a bit, right? So hearts do the most jamming. So you're gonna jam on pretty much every heart at some frequency, at a pretty high frequency. Uh, but then you're jamming some spades as well, right? So some of the times you're hitting a spade, you're jamming your hand. Like, of course, you're gonna have flushes yourself, and then you'll have some bluffs, or flush. They're not really. They're like flush draws. You know, if you have the ace of spades in your hand and the spade comes on the turn, then you have a flush draw to the nuts. On the river, it's just, you only have one card to come out, and then well, I'm gonna look at the for the purpose of the video. We're gonna look at the ten of hearts, and so I just want to show how aggressive three bet pots are. I think people don't play aggressive enough uh, from out of position, and in these three bet pots, you're gonna be pretty aggressive on a lot of turns, right? Um, like these when the high cards are the ace and the king are still good for you, but you'll see on the aces like you kind of go more for the small bet on the turn, but you're betting like something like 90% of your range. Whereas these cards right here, like the 8 and the 9, these are well, when the board pairs, your equity is not as high as, like, say, when the 10 comes out, you have 53% EV, or equity in the pot. I'm not sure if it's equity or EV, but your EV is 53%. I mean, you're gonna win the pot 53% of the time when the 10 comes out. When the board pairs for the 7, the second card, this is your lowest EV. But it doesn't mean that you don't bet. It just means that you will have more checking, and that your strategy just changes. Like, because a card comes that's not the best for you on the turn, you don't just give up, right? Like, you want to keep your strategy just changes, basically. And but you're never just giving up because of a bad card. Um, but anyway, let's go. We'll look at the best hand, which is 10, and then we'll kind of go and look at this lowest EV hand, and then we'll maybe even look at one more if I feel like it. But let's go to the strategy now. All right, so the strategy looks like this. It's super aggressive. Most of your range is jamming, or well, a majority of your range is jamming. 64% of the time, you're just clicking the all in button. And so it's going to be, we'll go to filters down here, and we'll look. It's really the top of your range is trapping, and the very bottom of your range is giving up or checking. Maybe not necessarily giving up, but it's checking. So let's go look at the checking range. So it looks like these, like, bottom pair, very weak aces with no draw, and some king high with no draw, queen high with no draw, like clubs and diamonds. So these are just your high card clubs and diamonds are gonna check. But when you get up here to this area and you have some sort of backdoor straight, gut shot, or anything like that, you're gonna jam. Also, these pairs right here, these lower pairs, they're not jamming. Jacks are trapping. And then all of your over pairs, this is what I would call a condensed range. So you have a polarized range. This is the opposite of a polarized range. So this is the opposite of a polarized range. Um, you don't see this very often, right? This is only in, like, certain areas of the game tree, especially like this pronounced. Uh, So yeah, you just play it exactly the opposite of a polarized range. You just jam all of your hands that have a good amount of equity, or have pretty much any equity at all, until you get to the point of my hand is so good that I don't want to jam and have him fold. So and then this part, the straights and the sets, they're just protecting this very bottom part of your range from getting ran over when it checks. So he can't just jam on you when you check, because he'll run into these hands, right? So that's pretty much it. Uh, Now let's look at. Well, I guess we can go through some of the actual. So two pair is a jam, Jack 10. Over pairs are jamming. That's aces, kings, and queens. Top pair, all of your top pairs jamming. Second pair is jamming, and then it stops at third pair, low pair. Um, then ace high and king high are jamming. But these actually have like more equity than this, right? Like these nut flush draws are gonna have more equity than a low pair. Then there's this queen nine, which is a straight draw. So this is actually like checking when it doesn't have the backdoor flush. It's kind of an anomaly. Like I don't think it really matters. I would just be jamming. Like I'm not gonna sit here and memorize everything. I'm just gonna jam when I feel like it, and if I have some trash, I'm not gonna jam. But there's another situation that arises that like this doesn't really surprise me, right? Because you have the jack, then you have some shit cards, and then you get a 10, right? And you're gonna see the same thing, and you would see the same thing, I think, if this was like a king. Yeah, see, it's the same thing. It just goes down a little bit, but it's still jamming 50%. And then let's change this to a queen, or that's the jack. Let's change it to a queen. So jamming just as much, right? And then an ace. Let's see the ace. So basically the ace is doing it 48%. So basically the formula is we had a high card on the flop, right? Let's say we had a king, and then we had a high card come on the turn. Let's say we had a queen. And you see it. I think the flush draw is kind of important too, right? The flush draw is going to be the one that does it the most. Um, yeah, it jumps up to 47% here, where it was on the rainbow type of flop. Like it has to be the flush draw that these two high cards. It doesn't matter about this flush draw, I don't think so much. Um, let's say the flush completed. Okay, if the flush completed in this instance, you wouldn't do it, but you just have to play around in the solver like I am, and see what's happening. Um, when the flush completes on this 10, then we see it. But when the flush completes on the queen, you don't see it so much. So it's like these cards connecting right here, I think is a big factor as well. So let's see a king queen. Not so much. So I think that the 10 in particular is just for some reason connecting with the small blinds range in such a way that it's just it's the goat, right? 37% shove. But more than anything, a jack and a 10 is your best, is your best thing. But there's also this right here where you have an ace. Like, say you have an ace and you have these two low connecting cards. Now let's look at the turns. I found this last night and I didn't know about this at all. So now you're gonna see this. You're shoving on all of these spades, right? This is check or shove. This is really wild. I've never noticed this before. Um, so you can really see here like when turns are polarizing and when they're depolarized. Like when I say something depolarizes, it means it goes from like being like a your like say if you were to bet polar on the flop, which usually it's a range bet, but if it was polar, like say if this was ace king on the flop, and then we have one of these turns in it, it changed the betting to look like this, where it's like a lot of the range is betting a lot of hands for a small amount. That's depolarization. And then when you go for a selective, like this is a very polar spot where um, just a select few hands are betting for very large amounts. So, but what surprised me is that you'll see these high cards are not as polarizing as these connecting straight cards are. Which you think most people, I think, when they see like a six of hearts come on the turn here, they're going to slow down, and when they should actually be putting in the money. So let's go to the six of hearts and we'll look at the strategy. So 40% of your range is jamming now. And it's the same type of thing. It's the middle of the range is doing the most jamming. This equity 50 to 70%. And then your worst hands 25 to 50%, doing a little bit less. And then your best hands are trapping. And that's going to look like your two pair is jamming, top pair is jamming. Some of your under pair is even jamming. Like these tens and nines are starting to jam when they don't have like diamonds or yeah, when they don't have diamonds. Here only the nine and the nine of clubs and nine, yeah, nine of clubs and nine of hearts. But that I guess that has to do with this kind of blocking the straight. So you're blocking the nuts, and you want to just jam your hand. And let's see, second pair. So like the queen is not doing it so much as the 10 and the 9 because they're blocking the straight. Then third pair is just not doing it. I don't think we don't have any third pair. Then low pairs when they block the straight. So this is like it actually becomes more important. Like blockers are more important here, or something you want to think about. You want to be blocking the straights, and flush draws are actually not doing it so much. Just this one where you kind of have a flush draw and a pair, and it jams the turn. So anyway, that's just Then of course when you get this six with this spades, it goes you jam just a little bit more. So that's pretty much it, and just a demonstration of how like some turns polarize. Then we'll look at one depolarizing or type of turn, or one that doesn't polarize so much. Like if you get this second ace here, see the ace of diamonds. When you get, let's look at the ace of diamonds. And so now your strategy is going to be completely different. And you're just betting like half your range for a small amount. And it actually looks more polar. So you wouldn't bet your under pairs in your second pair. You would bet your worst hands and your best hands for a small amount.